get what you missed on
Pearl in the Morning with Tina and Nzuki.
And Dunco.
You've got to make room for the Lord. I believe with all my heart, God is onto something. He's
Indeed
onto
he is.
something. But he cannot be in a place where there's no room. You know, one sort of a scientist, Dunco, who talked about a 32-inch steel pipe. Now, you will understand this story. And it was carrying about 18,000 kilograms of steam pressure. The pressure.
Yes.
And one day it suddenly exploded. People chomekad.
Yes.
That room was destroyed. Pali ilikuwa.
Yeah.
The force was so powerful that the insulation peeled off of the walls.
Yes.
Drrr. And what was the cause? Imagine it was a small impurity in the world, a small one. I didn't know that something so small
Yes.
can cause such major damage.
That's right.
And the impurity was so tiny, no one noticed it. But it blew like a 30-foot hole.
Yes.
Kudish,
Yes.
in a huge steel pipe. That was just crazy, man.
Yeah.
And you know something? I just thought about it. In the Christian life, Aki, a blowout begins with a small, slow leak.
Yes.
You're leaking. It's a small leak. If you're able to avoid sins like immorality, dishonesty,
Yes.
kutilandu nini, the weights, the gain,
Yeah.
you must deal with the little things, the tiny impurities in the welding of your souls. See, God puts your soul together. He welds it together. And I pray God will give us wisdom and courage to confront those things. They look small, but they can be used by Satan to pollute your spirit and to destroy you.
That's right.
So you might be thinking it's a small thing. That's why this morning we prayed about making room. Declutter. Duncan, I know you have things that don't fit you anymore.
Oh, yes.
I know there are things you look at, you're like, how did I amass all this? If you asked, please, Nini, your wealth. What is it called? Declare. What is your wealth?
I don't even know.
There's a time I used to look at my dungarees. I had dungarees and say, this is I will pass this. If should I die, I'll pass this on to my little sister.
Yes.
But now you look at the stuff that you have and you're like, sasa hii nilitoa wapi?
Why do I even need
and why
it?
do I? It's been sitting here.
Yeah.
But you have this soul attachment to it. It cannot be part of your life. It's gotta go.
That's right.
It's gotta go.
That's right.
And if you have those small things that stay in you, Aki, may God give you courage to uproot them. It's not easy to pull those things out.
Yeah, yes.
But let's go to the big things because we think they're big things. Let's talk about your finances, where you stopped tithing.
Right.
Let's talk about a relationship that God said, do not, and you said, are you sure?
Yeah.
And you're still asking 4 years later when you're in it and you're crying, are you sure? And God didn't want you in it in the first place.
That's right.
It's a small impurity in the world of your soul, but it's got to go. So strengthen your pegs, lengthen your cords, make room, Abi. Make room. The King of Glory is about to show up. If you have not made room,
Yes.
make room.
Make room.
It's happening.
Wow.
Things to ponder.
Illustrations to ponder. I like when you talk about things that I can relate to.
Yeah.
Because I've done a little bit of welding.
Yes.
In my life.
By the believe it or not.
And I know when we're doing welding, when we were learning the lesson of welding, for us to attain a perfect weld, we're talking about a perfect weld when you're joining two pieces of metal. You're trying to seal something. For you to get to that perfect, you have to do it over and over. You have to have your hand cannot be shaking as you're welding. Whether it's arc welding or electric welding, you have to practice. There's arc welding and there's electric welding. There's gas welding where you use the oxyacetylene gas. There's where you just use the electric rod. The one.
My friend is brighter than you are.
There are people who are actually very good at beading. It's called beading. How they weld. Inatoka kama ka-chain.
Oh.
Yes. But in this sense, you see, an impurity means when two metals are supposed to fuse. Any impurity means whatever that impurity is, there was no perfect fusion of those two metals. They're supposed to fuse. It's like we are melting this one and this one together. If they're of the same material, they can join together. But if they are two different materials, you need to add something like a flux or something
to shikanisha
that can act as the bonding agent between the two metals.
Okay.
So if for you to do it, you have to be very careful in understanding how this, and practice every day. To this day, I don't think I have a perfect weld, but there are people who have practiced every day. Unaona watu wa mjengo hawa?
Yes.
Hawa watu wa jua kali.
Yes.
They wake up every day.
Yes.
And they weld every day.
Yes.
it has to be perfect. So when you talk about an impurity causing an explosion, so now when we come to now gases, cylinders that house gases, whether it's gas, like liquid petroleum gas, or cryogenic gases, the gases, these are cold gases.
Even you.
Yeah. So what happens? That has to be perfect. There is no two ways about it. You have to be the best of the best.
Yes.
So when we talk about an impurity, and we do an audit of our lives and understand, by the way, if something as small as very small, it could be a sin that you don't even think about.
Yes.
That can cause such an explosion. I'm telling you, it's crazy because the pressures that are in those cylinders.
Crazy, huh?
You see a liquid. You see your normal
18,000,
gas. Your normal gas. If you overturn it and knock off the valve, as it's the valve is now, the cylinder is facing upwards, upside down, right?
Yeah. And
you knock off the valve, that thing can go for I don't know how many meters high. That's how pressurized it is. A gas is pressurized mpaka ina turn into liquid. See, ati inakuanga liquid. It is so pressurized that it turns into liquid. So you can imagine such kind of pressure, and that's why those people died in their numbers.
Wow.
So can you imagine something so small causing
small,
a catastrophe of that magnitude?
Now imagine the same small thing used by the enemy to destroy you. And then you, when you're destroyed, Dunco, there's no one to follow you behind. That generation of Gishoke is finished. Guard your territory. Check for the small things and declutter.
That's right.
All right? Declutter.
Join Tina and Nzuki and Dunco on Pearl in the Morning.
Weekdays from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m.